Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says a military operation in Libya is only possible if approved by the United Nations Security Council.
We have a unified position. We know about the plans of military involvement, including in the situation in Libya, which are discussed both openly and not that openly. Our common view is that it could be done only with the permission of the UN Security Council. Of course, a possible mandate for an operation against terrorists in Libya must be defined unambiguously so as not to allow perverted and false interpretations.
Islamic State has grown in Libya over the past year and a half. ISIL has taken over the town of Sirte. In light of this, neighboring Tunisia has built a border trench and tightened controls along the 200-kilometer border with Libya.
We as Tunisia emphasized our opposition to a random military intervention in Libya, when the results of which could be disastrous under the current circumstances, if not accompanied by a political solution to the Libyan situation. It is important that all efforts are exerted, first and foremost, towards getting Libyans together to form a unity government in Tripoli.
According to the Tunis government estimates, more than 3,000 Tunisians have left to fight with the Islamic State in Libya, Iraq and Syria. Catherine Ogunde, CCTV.
Well, let's get more now on this development in Libya, and I'm joined by Lillian Tan. She's joining me live from New York. Lillian, meetings have been held, proposals have been tabled, but nothing seems to work in Libya. Is the United Nations Security Council, though, considering sending a mission at all to Libya?
Hey there, Beatrice. Well, the UN already has a mission in Libya known as the UN Support Mission in Libya, or UNSMIL. Now, this is a political mission and not a military mission. Its mandate is to help find a political solution to the Libyan crisis and also to work with rival factions towards that end. Now, in terms of a UN-sanctioned military mission, that has come up in discussions, but it is not a formal consideration at this point, because any such military intervention sanctioned by the UN has to come at the request of a functioning government in Libya. And as of now, a functioning unity government remains elusive. So in terms of the UN sanction, the possibility of a UN-sanctioned peacekeeping force or military mission, that remains up in the air in the absence of an invite.
Well, Lillian, that proposal is not yet up for consideration, but of course, going back to the NATO intervention before in Libya, at the UN level, though, what would it take? What does it take to intervene militarily in a country like Libya?
Well, first of all, it needs permission from the UN Security Council, and in order to have that as a possibility, it requires the request. The Libyan government has to request, as I mentioned, has to request UN intervention. Now, in the absence of that, that's where things get a little bit complicated, because by government, the UN means the government of national accord, this power-sharing unity government that was agreed to in principle late last year, supported by the legitimate government in Tobruk. But that government has not yet been established. So without that GNA, there is no request for the UN Security Council to intervene, which is why we're also seeing separately military activity being conducted by foreign countries, non-state actors, the US, the UK, Italy, France. Separately, they've circumvented the UN purview and are conducting operations from airstrikes to intelligence gathering, communications, and weapons support. So that's outside of the UN purview. I cannot state more clearly that any UN-sanctioned military mission must come at the request of the Libyan government. And as of now, that is not happening yet. The UN also appears to have little appetite for military intervention, given the escalating humanitarian crisis in Libya, but also the history of foreign intervention in Libya after the fall of Gaddafi in 2011.
Lillian Tang for us there in New York. Thank you.